have you all here again, mashallah. Amazing. So welcome everyone to the final part of the story of Maryam alayhi salam. And we've been doing, this is the third part, the final part of this 3-part series that we've been running. And it's really amazing. Alhamdulillah, we have already 98 families logged in.
Wow.
Yeah, mashallah, you know, already all on time. So we're going to start pretty much straight away. And just a reminder on a couple of things. If you do log off and you can't get back in for whatever reason, then you can join the YouTube page. Have a look for the Al-Noor YouTube page, and you can join us live, inshallah, via that. And do subscribe to the Al-Noor YouTube page, because there you'll get notifications of any time we're running any of our events, inshallah. So do subscribe to the YouTube page. But it's really, really brilliant to have you all here. Alhamdulillah, we have so many people here. We have Safiya here, and look at Aleem Khan with the British flag behind him. We've got Suleiman here, and Mustafa, and Khadija. The names go on. So many people here. Inaya's here, and Hannah's here, and Yahya and Isa's here, and Abdullah Akhtar's here. What a good father you must have there, Abdullah, mashallah. So many other people. Ustad Sohail, we've got you here as well. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. How you doing, Ustad Akhtar?
Yeah, alhamdulillah, really great. Really looking forward to today's session. It's the final part. Bit sad that we're doing just the final part, but it's really great to be able to complete the story of Maryam alayhi salam.
Yeah, and a reminder that all those people who can't get on the Zoom session because there is only 100 participants allowed, there's unlimited access from YouTube, and we will be checking the YouTube channel as well for your contributions. You won't be able to take part directly in the quiz in terms of your percentages, but of course you'll be joining in with your answers, and you can post your own comments, and we'll be looking at that during the sessions as well.
Brilliant. So, Ustad, what do we have planned for everyone today?
Well, today is the last part of the story of Maryam alayhi salam, and we're going to be finding out what actually happens when Jibreel alayhi salam speaks to Maryam, gives her the good news, and she actually gives birth to the Prophet Isa alayhi salam. And we'll also be speaking about the reaction of her people. But most importantly, we're going to be coming to some conclusions about what makes Maryam alayhi salam so great. Do you remember on the first day, I said the most important question we have to ask about the story of Maryam alayhi salam is what makes her so great? So throughout this session, I want you to keep that question at the front of your minds. Because if we can work out what makes her so great, what makes her one of the 4 greatest women ever to live, then we can start to bring those characteristics into our lives. But before we start any of that, we're going to have some recitation of Quran. Now we're talking about the story of Maryam alayhi salam. So I think it's absolutely amazing that our reciter today is Isa. Isa Khan, mashallah. Are you there, Isa? Assalamu alaikum.
You're still on mute, Isa.
Isa, you with us?
Let me send him a prompt. Hold on, you will get, there you go.
I couldn't unmute myself. Assalamu
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Isa, it's great to have you, mashallah. How are you doing?
Alhamdulillah, I'm fine. How are you?
Yeah, good, mashallah. Now, last time we had a bit of a discussion with you about your sports achievements and background, but today we're not here to speak about that at all. Today we are here to listen to your recitation, and you're going to recite to us from Surah Maryam. Is that correct?
Inshallah, yeah. That's what I'll be
doing. And what verse are you going to recite from?
We're starting from verse 27 and we're finishing at 36, inshallah.
Okay, mashallah. So we're going to follow you with our mushaf. So can you please have your mushafs ready with you? Okay, whether you're using an Arabic physical mushaf or a digital mushaf with translation. You can also follow our Zoom translation as we're going along. Bismillah, Isa. Let's go.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم فأتت به قومها تحمله قالوا يا مريم لقد جئت شيئا فريا يا أخت هارون ما كان أبوك امرأ سوء وما كانت أمك بغيا فأشارت إليه قالوا كيف نكلم من كان في المهد صبيا قال إني عبد الله آتاني الكتاب وجعلني مباركا أينما كنت وأوصاني بالصلاة والزكاة ما دمت حيا وبرا بوالدتي ولم يجعلني جبارا شقيا والسلام عليك يوم ولدت ويوم أموت ويوم أبعث حيا ذلك عيسى بن مريم قول الحق الذي فيه يمترون ما كان لله أن يتخذ من ولد سبحانه إذا قضى أمرا فإنما يقول له كن فيكون وإن الله ربي وربكم فاعبدوه هذا صراط مستقيم.
ما شاء الله, ما شاء Allah, صدق الله العظيم, ما شاء Allah.
MashaAllah.
That was excellent, mashallah. And one thing I don't mind admitting to you is that I'm not a great person when it comes to listening to different reciters, different types of reciters. I much more enjoy reading tafsir of Quran. But when it comes to your recitation, I really, really enjoy it, mashallah. Now, Isa, can you tell us, in your journey of recitation and hifz, whereabouts are you now? Have you finished memorizing the Quran? How far away are you away from memorizing the Quran?
So, alhamdulillah, I've had a very, very long journey when it comes to memorizing Quran, but it's not something I complain about. Alhamdulillah, I've learned 23 juz now. So
MashaAllah.
I'm coming close to the end. I do plan to finish by mid next year. And I think it's just one of them things that I've done my whole life. So it's been a part of everything I do. So the most significant part of my childhood is waking up for Quran class in the morning and going to Quran in the evening and learning my stuff at home. And it's always been that. So I think that like Quran has been a big, big part of like how I've grown up. It's how I've made friends. I've made friends that I've still got now through Quran classes, for example. And it's always Quran, alhamdulillah. So yeah, it's a very, very, very big part of my life.
We seem to hear from all the young reciters that waking up early for Quran is a big part of their routine. Doing Quran after school is a big part of their routine. Would you agree with that? You seem to be saying the same thing.
100%, 100%. I think that the more time you put into it, you're gonna get more results out of it. So the earlier you wake up in the morning, your mind's fresher. It's the first thing you look at in the morning. It's the first thing you're gonna pay attention to, and then it basically sets you up for the rest of the day. Like I used to have days where I knew that if I hadn't learned my stuff for the morning, I would have it's not a bad day, but something could be missing in that day. I knew I haven't done everything I needed to do, and I still get that now. Like if I haven't learnt my page or I haven't delivered my revision, it will bug me, if that makes sense. It will irritate me. I need to make sure I've done it in order to move on and make sure it's good. So yeah, 100%. You have to just put the time in.
MashaAllah. And I know that you are doing your A-levels at the moment in college, you're training also. So there's a lot of commitments that you've got. Roughly how many hours do you have to put a day to the Quran to reach your level where you can recite in the manner that you recited?
So my time I've given to Quran. So overall, I would say it has to be a part of your life. It can't be something that is there on the side to be picked up and put down whenever you feel like it's necessary. But every single day, like different people have different capabilities. So for me, I'll spend about an hour on memorization and then dedicate an hour as much as I can to my revision also, because without your revision, you're kind of just going around in a circle that's kind of hopeless. So you have to make sure that the revision is there and your memorization is done properly. You can't memorize something and make mistakes in it and expect to know it the next day. You have to make sure that once you've memorized it, you're confident that you can deliver that page. For example, if you lead a salah or if you're put on the spot to read it, if that makes sense. I think these are the most important things that you have to remember whenever you're memorizing.
Now, I really do love listening to you. Is there a particular reciter you follow, or is this kind of like your natural rhythm that you've developed yourself?
With my own Quran, with my own recitation, it's kind of been me. Like, it's always been me. I haven't ever copied someone, but I enjoy listening to certain reciters. So I'd enjoy listening to Mahir al-Mayqali. I'd enjoy listening to like Ahmed al-Ajmi back in the day. I'd enjoy listening to these people, but I've been told to try and copy someone, but I've never ever had to do that, if that makes sense. It's always been my recitation. It's been me, like how I've adapted it to myself. So copying someone, no. But in being inspired to do something and recite a certain way, 100%. Other people have inspired me to do what I do.
Okay, mashallah. And last question for you, Isa. We're talking about the story of Maryam alayhi salam. What do you find the most inspirational part of Maryam's story? What do you think makes her great?
For me, the most important lesson and value we learned from the story of Maryam alayhi salam is that she did everything she did in her life with one thing in her mind, that she has Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. She knew that whatever she was going to face, no one was going to stand by her side. And her knowing that she had Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with her at all times was enough for her. So for me as a person and as a lesson to be learned, you have to remember that you may find yourself in a situation where you have no one, or it may be the darkest situation, the worst situation, but you know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is with you. So whatever is put in front of you, you have Allah with you regardless. You may feel like you have no other person, but Allah is always with you no matter what. And I think that's the biggest lesson we learn from her story, because she was given a child, she was accused of committing a grave sin, she was accused of so many things because she was a person who was looked at as a spiritual religious person. But she was tested with this thing, that have I done something wrong to deserve this? But she remembered that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is with her, and she stayed steadfast on that. And that's the most important lesson I think that we get from her.
MashaAllah, that is an excellent, deep reflection. This is what tadabbur is all about. Tadabbur means to reflect deeply on the verses of the Quran and the story, and why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told the story in a certain way. You would have noticed over the last 3 days, so many times Allah points to the fact that Maryam was alone. And here we have Isa alayhi salam making such a deep and fruitful reflection, that this shows us that even if you're alone, if you have Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with you, you will always be supported. Jazakallah khair, Isa, that was excellent. Inshallah, I look forward to another future session when maybe you're half the Quran and you'll be able to reply to us. Jazakallah khair.
100%, inshallah.
Inshallah. Assalamu
alaikum.
Okay, inshallah ta'ala. So we're now going to return to the section where we continue the story of Maryam alayhi salam. So Ustad Habib, if you can share the PowerPoint. We got down with Ustad Masood, who gave us an excellent presentation to the point. If we just go down a little bit further down the slides. Yeah, a bit further down. It's a bit slow because of the internet connection. So while you're getting down to the slide which said what makes Maryam alayhi salam so great, a bit further than that, I'm going to continue the story from where we left off, when we were speaking, when Ustad Masood was speaking about Maryam alayhi salam and her encountering Jibreel. So this is the main question which you see in front of you. What makes Maryam alayhi salam so great? So those people following on YouTube, post your comments on YouTube. And those people following on Zoom, I want you to collect your thoughts. And I'm going to be stopping for a good 5 to 10 minutes during the story to ask you, what makes Maryam alayhi salam so great? And you have already heard an excellent answer from Isa Khan. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make him from the Huffaz of Quran. So let's move on to the next slide, inshallah ta'ala. So we picked up the story with Ustad Majid when Jibreel alayhi salam came in the form of a man to Maryam. Maryam had left the masjid for a while. Every month she would have a time of the month when she had to go out from the masjid. And the Quran just tells us she used to go to the east. She used to walk a few miles to the east to a secluded place where she would continue her dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and her remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, when Maryam alayhi salam was in this special place where there would be nobody else, Jibreel alayhi salam comes to her. And he comes to her in the form of a man. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says to us something very important, which Isa recited for us. فَاتَّخَذَتْ مِن دُونِهِمْ حِجَابًا فَأَرْسَلْنَا إِلَيْهَا رُوحَنَا فَتَمَثَّلَ لَهَا بَشَرًا سَوِيًّا. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala describes how Jibreel came in the form of Basharan Sawiya. He came in the form of a perfectly formed man. When Jibreel alayhi salam first came to Maryam or to the prophets, he would come in the form of a man because it would be too shocking for them to see Jibreel in his angelic form covering the whole horizon with 600 wings. So he would come in the form of a man, and he would come in the form of a very good looking man. Now, Maryam alayhi salam is a young teenager. According to some historians, she's between 14 to 16 years old. And here she's alone in some place far off to the east, and a very good looking man comes to her. Now, one of the things that makes Maryam alayhi salam so great is her modesty. Her modesty. She doesn't say to Jibreel, because as far as she's concerned, he's just another man. She doesn't say to him, oh, who are you? You're very good looking. She doesn't start small talk with her. She actually speaks to him in a very honorable way. Now, if you want to achieve greatness, you have to have modesty, and that applies to boys as well as girls. You have to have modesty. You can't be getting too friendly with the opposite gender. You can't be making too close friendships. And Maryam alayhi salam, she speaks in a very honorable way. She maintains her modesty. She maintains her privacy. You see, for some of us, we think hijab is just a cloth. Hijab is not just a cloth. Hijab is the headscarf, but it's also the way you behave. It's also the way you speak. So when you think of a hijab, think about the headscarf, but also think about the fact that the way I speak is part of hijab. The way I conduct my manners, the way my behavior is, that is also part of hijab. So Maryam says to Jibreel, Inni a'udhu birrahmani minka in kunta taqiyya, which is quite a strong statement. She says, I truly seek refuge in Ar-Rahman from you. So leave me alone if you are God-fearing. Now, I'm not saying, young sisters especially, or brothers, if you're at a bus stop and somebody comes and sits next to you, that you should say to them, A'udhu billah, move away from me. No, that's not what I'm talking about. Remember, Maryam is quite shocked. She's in a place that she knows there's nobody else, and she's completely alone, and she's quite startled. But generally, you want to make sure that you are particularly careful in the way you interact with the opposite gender. If you're a boy, how you interact with girls, and if you're a girl, how you interact with boys. You have to think about it, and you have to make sure you don't get over friendly. And Maryam alayhi salam, she asks him, you know, if you're a God-fearing person, you need to leave me alone. Now, Maryam alayhi salam also uses the word Ar-Rahman. Ar-Rahman means the most merciful. So she is saying to Jibreel, if you've got any bad thoughts, because remember, she doesn't realize he's an angel. If you've got any bad thoughts, then just turn back to Allah and ask his forgiveness. She's again giving da'wah to Jibreel. We saw her giving da'wah to her own uncle, Prophet Zakariya, who's a prophet. And now she's giving da'wah to Jibreel alayhi salam. Okay, let's move on to the next slide. Now, subhanallah, one of the things that really makes Maryam alayhi salam so great is that she recognizes that protection is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. She's all alone. She doesn't scream out for somebody to help her. She turns to Allah and she says, A'udhu bir-Rahman. I seek refuge in Ar-Rahman. She understands that all protection and all safety comes from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's a very important part of this story. Right from the beginning, we saw her that she's growing up in Masjid al-Aqsa alone. But like Isa told us, you're never alone when you have Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with you. And even in the most difficult situations, when she's quite shocked, when she's quite startled, she turns back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So when you're afraid, who should you turn to? You turn always to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He is your best protector. Okay, let's move on to the next slide. So she gives da'wah to Jibreel. She invites him that if you've got any bad thoughts, you need to turn back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and you need to make tawbah. But she doesn't know. Jibreel tells her that I'm no ordinary human being. إِنَّمَا أَنَا رَسُولُ رَبِّكِ لِأَهَبَ لَكِ غُلَامًا زَكِيًّا. I am only a messenger from your Lord. I'm an angel sent to you to bless you with a pure son. I'm coming to give you good news that you are going to have a pure son. She never forgets her responsibility to give da'wah. Let's move on. Next slide. Now, Jibreel alayhi salam, he gives her the news that she is going to have a baby, that she is going to be blessed with a pure son. Now, Maryam alayhi salam, she is even more shocked. She's already shocked, but now she's even more shocked. And she says, قالت أن يكون لي غلام ولم يمسسني بشر ولم أك بغيا. How can I have a son when no man has ever touched me, nor am I unchaste? I'm not that type of woman. No man has touched me and I'm not that type of woman. So how is it possible that I can have a child? Now, we learned earlier on in the story that Maryam alayhi salam, she was getting fruits from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala out of nowhere, out of season. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was already preparing her that something amazing is going to happen to you. Remember in the mihrab when you were praying and Allah was providing fruits for you, that's just step one. Step two is going to be an even greater step, that Allah is going to provide you with a son. Even though you're not married, even though no man has touched you, Allah is going to provide you with a son. Now, Maryam has already experienced miracles, but isn't it amazing that she still is so shocked, even though Allah has already prepared her? And she says, how can I have a son when no man has ever touched me? Now, the Quran goes on to describe how Jibreel responds. قَالَ كَذَلِكِ قَالَ رَبُّكِ هُوَ عَلَيَّ هَيِّنٌ وَلِنَجْعَلَهُ آيَةً لِلنَّاسِ وَرَحْمَةً مِنَّا وَكَانَ أَمْرًا مَقْضِيًّا. So will it be. So will it be, your Lord says, it is easy for me, and so will we make him a sign for humanity and a mercy from us. So Jibreel reassures Maryam that the same God who was providing you fruits in your chamber out of season will provide you with a son. One of the most important lessons of this story is that Allah can do whatever he wills. The Quran says, he says, kun, be, and it is. Whenever Allah wants something to happen, it is easy for him to do whatever he wills. And Jibreel has to remind Maryam about that because she's so shocked. She's never heard of somebody having a child when they're not married or they're not haven't been touched by another man. She'd never heard of it. But now Jibreel is telling her, reminding her what she already knows, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can provide. Now, the story goes on and there's a description about how she goes off to a far off place, because now Jibreel alayhi salam in that meeting, if we just stay on the previous slide, Ustad Habib, just stay on the date palm trees, that's very important for us to talk about. Jazakallah khair. So Jibreel alayhi salam in that meeting, he breathes into the cloak of Maryam, the cloak of Maryam. He breathes into her the spirit of Isa alayhi salam, and that spirit goes into her womb, and now she is pregnant. She is pregnant with a child growing inside her. And she recognizes that that is a big deal for her society. They will never accept. How is it that you are having a child and you're not married and you've not had any relations with men? How is that possible? Because although they were religious people, they were also very materialistic people. They didn't believe too deeply in miracles from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Maryam alayhi salam is shocked and she's worried about what her people will say. So she goes off from Jerusalem to a far off eastern place, a few miles away. And there the baby grows inside her womb. And she actually meets her auntie. You remember who her auntie is? Ayesha Elizabeth. And her auntie also has been given a miracle that her and her husband, who are very old, they now conceive a child. So Maryam goes to her auntie Ayesha and they face each other. And Ayesha says, I've got some good news. I've got a child. And Maryam says, I've also got some good news. I've got a child. Ayesha thinks what she's experiencing is miraculous. But what Maryam alayhi salam is experiencing is even more miraculous. So when it comes to the time of giving birth, she's all alone. And as Isa says, when you have Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Isa Khan, our reciter, when he said, when you have Allah, then you don't need anybody else. She's all alone. She's a teenage girl and she's about to give birth. And she is in so much pain. Your mums will tell you, your aunties will tell you, there is no pain greater than childbirth. And she is just a young girl. And she's in so much pain that she stands up and she leans against a date palm, like one of those in the picture there. فأجاءها المخاض إلى جذع النخلة قالت يا ليتني مت قبل هذا وكنت نسيا منسيا. Then the pains of labor, the pains of giving birth drove her to the trunk of a palm tree. She cried out, alas, I wish I had died before this, or was a thing forgotten. You know, you can sometimes get so upset with things that are happening in your life. Maryam now, she is so upset. But I know what you're thinking. She's upset because of the pain of giving birth. That's not the main reason she's upset. The main reason she's upset is, how am I going to go back to my people? I'm going to be carrying a little boy, a baby boy, and they're going to ask me, where did this baby boy come from? You're not even married. So that is the main reason why she is so upset. The Quran then describes, فَنَادَاهَا مِن تَحْتِهَا أَلَّا تَحْزَنِي قَدْ جَعَلَ رَبُّكِ تَحْتَكِ سَرِيًّا. So a voice reassured her from below her, do not grieve, your Lord has provided a stream at your feet. You know, when things get really difficult in your life, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will still be there for you. At the moment you almost lose hope, Allah will be there for you. So she looks down when she's giving birth and there's a stream below her. Now this voice that calls out to her, some scholars of tafsir say it was actually Isa. So when she actually gave birth to Isa, Isa spoke to her directly and said, there's a stream below you for water. And some scholars say, no, it was an angel who said to her, look to the stream below you. Allah made a stream come right below her so she could drink from the water. One of the most amazing things about this story is the next verse. When Allah commands her, وَهُزِّي إِلَيْكَ when the voice commands her, وَهُزِّي إِلَيْكَ بِجِذْعِ النَّخْلَةِ تُسَاقِطْ عَلَيْكِ رُطَبًا جَنِيًّا. And shake the trunk of the palm tree towards you. It will drop fresh, ripe dates upon you. Now you look at that palm tree picture there. If there's a little girl, teenage girl at the bottom shaking the palm tree, do you think those dates at the top will fall down on her? No, it won't be the case. Allah can easily just send dates to her hands. Allah just caused her to have a child. It's very easy for Allah to send dates to roll to her from the floor. But Allah wants her to try, to give maximum effort. So she's shaking the date palm. It's not going to make any difference, but Allah wants her to try her best to put efforts in. So all of you people listening at home, whether it's your exams, whether it's helping your parents, I don't want you to be relaxing and saying, yeah, I put my trust in Allah. No. Allah always wants you to do your best. You study as hard as you can, and Allah will give you success in your exams. You control your temper and try and be as kind, as gentle to your parents as you can, and Allah will make them love you. The results are always in the hands of Allah, but the effort always has to be in our hands. Okay, Ustad Habib, let's move on. So now Maryam goes back to Jerusalem holding this young child, and people are so angry. How is it possible? How is it possible, Maryam, that you've got a child? They say to her, Ya ukhtu Harun, O sister of Harun, because she's from the family of Harun, from the brother of Musa alayhi salam. How is it possible you got a child? You're not married. You haven't had any relationships with men. Your parents are good people. How is it possible that you've done this? And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala orders Maryam not to speak a word. She has to put her fingers on her lips like this to say that I am fasting. In the olden days, people, when they used to fast, they used to give up food and drink, but they also used to give up speaking. And she points to the baby, Isa alayhi salam, and Isa speaks on her behalf. Isa is the one who defends her. And they are so shocked and amazed that Allah has caused this miracle to occur, that Isa alayhi salam, as a baby in the arms of Maryam, is now speaking. Now we're going to finish by listening to what Isa alayhi salam actually says. He says, Inni abdullahi atani al-kitab wa ja'alani nabiyya. I am truly a servant of Allah. Not I am God, not I am Allah, not I am the son of Allah. He says, I am a servant of Allah. He has destined me to be given the scripture, to be given the Bible, and to be a prophet. And he also says that he is going to be so kind to his mother, وَبَرًّا بِوَالِدَتِي وَلَمْ يَجْعَلْنِي جَبَّارًا شَقِيًّا, and to be kind to my mother. He has not made me arrogant or deviant. So we learn from this story the importance of being good to your parents, of being kind to your parents. Isa alayhi salam shows that even as a baby to his mother, and when he grows up, he is so kind and so dutiful to his mother. We have to be so good and so kind to our parents. And Maryam alayhi salam is like that, even to her own mother, Hannah. She is so kind and so dutiful. And we hear about Yahya and how kind he is to his parents, Zakariya and Ayesha, his mother. So within this story, you've got so many clues about one of the most important things that makes you great is being good to your parents. Okay, let's move on. Okay, now one of the important things about this story is being aware of your family background. Yeah, Maryam alayhi salam is so worried that she brings shame to her family, that they might misunderstand how she has a baby. And even the people, they say to her, Ya ukhtu Harun, oh, you're from the family of Harun. So whenever you're growing up, don't just think, yeah, I can do my own thing. I'm an individual. Always think about your family. Think about the effects your actions will have on your family. Okay, let's move on. I think we got this special part now. So we're going to be a good treatment of your parents. Yeah, we spoke about that. Ustad Habib, can we move on one more slide, please? Now it's over to you. What makes Maryam alayhi salam so great? We've been speaking about her story for 3 days now. What I want you guys to do, those on YouTube, you can post your comments on YouTube. Those on Zoom, you can actually post your comments. You should be unmuted now. You can post your comments using the chat facility. Now, if you'd like to speak, because there's so many people, just raise your hand and Ustad Akhtar will allow you to speak, inshallah. So let's have some ideas from you guys. What makes Maryam alayhi salam so great? We've got an excellent answer on YouTube. Ustad Akhtar from Shehzadi says Maryam had trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Can we put that down as number one? Trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If you want to achieve greatness, you need to have trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What other ideas do we have? Let's have a look at the chat facility. Let's see what these guys are saying to us.
Okay, so I'm going to just stop sharing for a second so I can unmute everyone. So just bear with me for a second, and then we're going to come back to this whiteboard. And there's lots of people got their hands up. So let me first of all arrange this so I can make sure that I can unmute everyone. Now, when we'll call out your name so that you can unmute everyone. So that's now allowed. So Ustad, do you want to choose a few people?
I'll let you choose, Ustad. You got the raised hands there. You just choose whoever you want. As many people.
Yeah, the first one is Hannah Chowdhury, year 3 and age 8.
Bismillah, Hannah. What makes her so great?
Go ahead, Hannah.
The things that make her great is that she always believed in Allah, and she told the angel to if you want forgiveness, then you should ask Allah.
Oh wow, mashallah. So belief in Allah, and also Ustad Akhtar, belief in Allah and His mercy. Can we call it that? Belief in Allah and His mercy. Okay. So who's next, Ustad Akhtar? Can we unmute the next person?
Yeah, I can't do that now. I'm doing this, so you'll have to shout out their names, or maybe Brother Habib could do that for us.
No, that's fine. I got the. Let's hear from Maryam Islam, year 4, age 9. Maryam Islam, can you tell us?
Actually, I can do it now. Some amazing powers that have been given to me. So let me do that now for you guys. We just heard from somebody. Who did we hear from? Okay, let's go to Hania and Hafsa.
That in difficulty she stayed firm and believed in Allah.
Whoa, that is so profound. In difficulty, prayed and believed in Allah. That is excellent, excellent. Can we have another answer? Was that Maryam Islam?
That was Hania.
How about Maryam Islam? Can we have your answer?
I'm trying to find them. You're gonna have to. There's too many people here, mashallah. So many people. So let's. But I've got Ehsan from year 5. So go ahead, Ehsan.
Like when she was pointing at the baby, because she pointed at the lips so they could stop talking about it.
Okay, but I'm struggling a bit to understand what the quality we can learn from that is. But Jazakallah khair for your contribution. Ustad Akhtar, we got an excellent one on YouTube from Nazia. She was so modest. She was so modest and she was so pure. So if we can please have that one, Ustad Akhtar, that's a very important one. And we got another one on YouTube. She prayed a lot. That is incredibly important. Right from the beginning of the story, we learnt about her in her mihrab all the time, praying and making dhikr and fasting. Now let's hear from someone else.
We're going to ask Sumaya to speak. Go ahead, Sumaya.
She was like the mother of the Prophet Isa, and that made her kind of special.
Okay, a mother is a very special person in Islam. So Ustad Akhtar, definitely need that one. She's a very special position as a mother, and especially as the mother of a Prophet Isa alayhi salam.
Okay,
go
ahead. We hear from Ahsan. So let's hear from Ahsan. I believe he's unmuted.
She never gave up.
She never gave up.
MashaAllah. She never gave up in difficult circumstances. Yeah, she never gave up in difficult circumstances. That is excellent. Let's hear some more people. Ustad Akhtar, can we hear some?
Yeah, we're going to hear from, let's have a look, from Qasim. Go ahead, Qasim. Qasim, what's happened to you? We can't hear you. Still can't hear you, but we can see your lips moving. Let's hear from Ibrahim Islam.
She got a baby at a young age.
Oh, okay. But is that always a good thing? Is that always a good thing? So I'm thinking she had a baby at a young age. to show the power of Allah. We have to add to that, to show the power of Allah. Yeah, because she wasn't even married. She didn't have any relationships with any men or any boys like that, but she had a baby at a young age to show the power of Allah. Okay, I think the last one, can we have the last one maybe, or last couple?
Yeah, let's hear from Ayesha. Ayesha, you have the prompt to unmute. Can you see that on your screen? There you go.
You have to be kind to your parents.
Whoa, that is so important, mashallah. You have to be kind to your parents. Yeah, because then your parents will make dua for you. Then your parents will make dua for you. And the dua of the parents is always accepted by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. MashaAllah, I know there's so many people with their hands up. We could actually go on all night listening to your contributions. And this is what makes me the most happiest. More happier than hearing beautiful recitation is when I hear people understanding the meanings of the Quran and coming out with answers which describe how they are thinking about these answers in relation to their lives. So, Ustad Habib, can we just now go back to the PowerPoint? We had a list as well, which we wanted to show you. And I think it's very similar to some of the answers you had given us. So can we go back, Ustad Habib, to the screen sharing and go to the next slide, please? Bismillah. Parents making dua for you, excellent. Making a lot of dua for yourself, because if you're good to your parents, they'll make dua for you. Being patient when bad things happen to you. Somebody said that on YouTube. Yeah, she goes through so much in her life, but she's always patient. A lot of prayer. Somebody said that, isn't it, on YouTube as well? A lot of prayer, mashallah. Putting your trust in Allah. That was the first comment on Zoom, and even Isa spoke about that, putting your trust in Allah. Knowing that Allah is the provider. Somebody actually made a comment that fruits were given to her out of season. This connects to this statement, knowing that Allah is the provider. Giving da'wah, excellent. She's not afraid to give da'wah to her uncle who's a prophet, to Jibreel, an angel, because she knows that she has to convey the message. She has to encourage others to be dutiful to Allah. Being modest, this is so important. The Quran puts so much emphasis on this. She's very careful about the way she talks to other people, and she understands hijab is not just a headscarf, it's the way you speak and it's the way you behave as well. Looking for Allah's protection. She knows that Allah is the only one who can look after her. So when people want to argue with her, where'd you get this baby from? She just puts her fingers on her lips and she points to the baby. Doing your best and leaving the results in the hands of Allah. She shakes the date palm, even though that's not going to do anything, but she's doing her best, and then you put the results in the hands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I think that's our list. I really enjoyed some of your answers. I really did. So inshallah, this shows we're on the right path. We are trying hard to recite the Quran, to be fluent with the recitation of the Quran, but we're trying equally hard to try and think about the meanings of the words of the Quran. Ustad Akhtar, is it our favorite part now?
Yeah, we're going to see really how much you've all learned over these last 3 days and what you've taken away from these sessions. So then, by the way, it gave some amazing reflections there, Ustad. Really, really brilliant, mashallah. And really well, like really deep and very... Somebody muted me there, and really powerful. So that was amazing. And now what we're going to do is we're going to have our quiz time. So we're just going to ask Brother Habib to stop the sharing on the screen, and we're going to ask a few questions and see. So everybody get your fingers ready. Here's the time where you can answer a few questions, and we've got 5 questions for today. And we did really well, Ustad, yesterday. We caught them out on a few. So let's see how they do today. So the first question, let's ask you this question. Why were Maryam's people so angry when they saw her holding a baby? They didn't like children? Was it that she had gone away without telling anybody? She had given birth to a baby even though she wasn't married? Or was they were always in a bad mood anyway? So was it that they didn't like children? She had gone away without them telling anybody? She had given birth to a baby who, even though she was not married? Or number 4, they were always in a bad mood. Let's have a look. MashaAllah. Oh, so many people have voted. We'll give you another 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. And let's have a look at the results. Ustad, you ready to see this? And it's a landslide.
Oh, mashallah. This got to be one of the biggest correct answers. She had given birth to a baby, even though she was not married. That is the correct answer. And we've got loads of people on YouTube who also got the right answer. Hayden, Nazia Begum. We've also had Shazadi and Zakariya and Yahya Ahmed. They got the answer right. Well done.
Amazing. Very well done, everyone. Now get ready for question number 2. Question number 2. Maybe we might be getting a bit harder. I'm not sure. Let's see. What did Maryam alayhi salam say to defend herself? Did she say nothing? Just stay quiet. Did she say that I've been chosen by Allah? Did she say this baby is being born as a miracle? Or I have done nothing wrong? What did Maryam alayhi salam say? Did she say nothing? Did she say I've been chosen by Allah? Did she say this baby is being born as a miracle? Or I have done nothing wrong? Those of you on YouTube, you can answer A, B, C, or D. And let's hear your answers. We're up to 84%. So we'll give you maybe another 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, let's end it here. And we've got a little bit of a mixture here. So let's share these results with you, Ustad. And we have 76%, 3/4 said nothing. And then we've got a mixture between the next two.
Oh, mashallah. Mashallah. Majority of people have got it right. She said nothing because she was keeping a fast, a vow of silence. She was fasting, but in those days, the fasting also meant you don't speak. So she put a finger on her lip and she pointed to the baby Isa alayhi salam, who spoke on her behalf. So a bit of a trick question there. And people on YouTube getting different answers. Oh, by the way, people on YouTube, you can't actually see the questions. You have to just listen out. It's a Zoom facility. So you just have to listen, and then you can either post your answer on the chat facility, or you can just post it, or you can just answer yourself. Okay, Jazakallah khair. Let's move on, Ustad Akhtar.
All right, so let's move on to the next question, which is, what miracle did Prophet Isa alayhi salam perform while he was a baby in his mother's arm? Was it A, he cured the blind, B, he raised the dead to come back to life, C, he spoke in the cradle to defend his mother, or D, he walked on water? Was it A, he cured the blind, B, he raised the dead to come back to life, C, he spoke in the cradle to defend his mother, or D, he walked on water? Those on YouTube, you can punch in A, B, C, or D, and let's see where we're at. And it is a very much a one-sided answer here. We'll give you another 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, Ustad, and here are the results to share with you. And 96% said he spoke in the cradle to defend his mother. So is that right, Ustad?
That is correct. I thought I might be able to trick you. All the other 3 answers are also miracles from the life of Isa alayhi salam. But we're here to talk about his mother Maryam, and what he did for his mother was he spoke while he was still a baby. Well done, mashallah.
Well done, everyone. And now let's see the next question, the second from last, the penultimate question. And let's launch this for you and everyone on YouTube. Why do you think Allah always describes the Prophet Isa alayhi salam in the Quran as the son of Maryam alayhi salam? Is it to emphasize that Isa alayhi salam is not the son of Allah? Or is it to honor Maryam alayhi salam by emphasizing she is the mother of one of the greatest prophets? Or is it C, Isa alayhi salam does not have a father, so he's called the son of Maryam alayhi salam? Or D, to remind people about the great miracles of Isa alayhi salam's birth? And we've got people unsure about this one because the answers are coming slowly. So let me say that again. Is it A, to emphasize Isa alayhi salam is not the son of Allah? B, to honor Maryam alayhi salam by emphasizing she is mother of one of the greatest prophets? C, Isa alayhi salam does not have a father, so he has to be taken, he has to be called the son of Maryam alayhi salam? Or D, to remind people of the great miracle of Isa alayhi salam's birth. We're going to give you a few more seconds. 4. Put your answers in. 3, 2, 1. And Ustad, you have definitely stumped them on this one. So let's have a look at the results. It's a split.
Okay. The reason it's a split, Ustad Akhtar, is that they are all correct. I was being a bit they are all correct. The reason Prophet Isa alayhi salam is called Isa ibn Maryam is because to emphasize he's not the son of Allah, but also to honor his mother Maryam by naming her, but also because Isa does not have a father, so he has to be called the son of Maryam, his mother, and also to remind people about the great miracle of Isa alayhi salam's birth, who was born without a mother. Because so many people could not get their head around this. How did this happen? So they said Isa, astaghfirullah, is the son of Allah. No, he's not the son of Allah, he's the son of Maryam. And this was a miracle of Allah.
Yeah, amazing, amazing. Jazakallah khair. So everyone got that right and wrong at the same time.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
let's have a look at the final question. The final question for the final session on the story of Maryam alayhi salam. Get ready for the question, and here it is. What important character does Isa, the Prophet Isa alayhi salam, say he will have when he grows up in the verses we recited? Was it that I will be good to my mother, I will be kind to the orphans, I will give in charity, or I will help the oppressed? Is it that his important character will be A, I will be good to my mother, B, I will be kind to orphans, C, I will give in charity, or D, I will help the oppressed? Have a look at those 4 options. Those of you on YouTube, have a look at posting up whether it's A, B, C, or D, and see which ones you want to choose. And we give you another 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, and let's end the poll. And here you go, Ustad. Here are the results of the answers.
Yes, 74% of you got it right. The important characteristic he showed was he will be good to his mother, which is A. He'll be good to his mother. Alhamdulillah, mashallah. I think that brings us to the end of our program. We just want to show one last slide, Ustad Habib, which is the contact slide. If you can bring that up, if that's okay.
Yeah, and whilst he's doing that, I'm going to post up a little attendance file that you can pull in. So do vote and tell us how many people are watching this particular session in your house, how many people are there, so we can have an understanding of how many people are currently benefiting from these sessions, and it will give us an idea. And Ustad, your slide here, what would you like to share from this slide?
Yeah, now, with all good things come to an end. So this will be our kind of last session for this holidays, but I do want to tell you about the next holidays and what we're going to cover. If you would like to recite in future programs, we've been contacted by parents who are keen for their children to recite. That is brilliant. We want to hear from as many of you as possible. Or if you'd like to continue sharing your reflections on the stories we've covered. So if in the next few days you think about something from the story of Maryam alayhi salam, you can contact us. And if you'd like to continue receiving support materials to help your family become fluent reciters of the Quran, we are planning in the near future to maybe run some workshops for parents, to have some support groups set up for parents. Because one thing we don't hear about much is the parent side. Behind every child who memorizes the Quran, there is a parent working day and night to make that possible. And many of us have that ambition, but we would like some support. So we're going to be in the future weeks. For all of that, you can simply email us at registration@alnoor.co.uk. That's registration@alnoor.co.uk. Please do make sure, if you want your child to recite, that for the recitation section, they have to be fluent, okay? So if your child's not quite ready, then keep on practicing until you get to that stage where you think they are fluent. But if you've got reflections you want to share with us, or if you want to be part of our support networks, then please email us at registration@alnoor.co.uk. If you're already part of the Telegram group, then inshallah you'll automatically get those notifications. So please do join the Telegram group. Now the last slide which we've got there if we move on to the next one, Ustad Habib, is the next program. Ustad Akhtar, which prophet are we going to speak about in the next program?
Yeah, we're going to have the amazing story of Yusuf alayhi salam. It's one of the my best story and one of the most unbelievable stories in the Quran. So I'm really looking forward to it.
MashaAllah, if you thought the story of Maryam alayhi salam was great with so many miracles, you just have to wait for the story of Yusuf on the 15th, 16th, and 17th of February at the same time around 6:30. And we're going to be talking about the story of Prophet Yusuf. So we're going to be posting the verses we're going to be covering. So inshallah ta'ala, if you want your child to be part of that, please do contact us. And there is a registration link from where you can join the Telegram group. So now, Ustad Akhtar, it's got to come to an end, but it's got to come to an
we want to just, before we do, just thank a few people, like all of the organizations that supported us, Brother Habib and family, Umar and Brother Haroon, and really all of you parents for allowing your children to join. And now it's like the time when you can unmute yourself and say salam.
I love you.